On the Track is a monthly web TV show about cryptozoology, natural history, green issues, and whatever else the team feel like making up as they go along. Enjoy!
Nuneaton, the jewel of the South Midlands, the town who gave us such great men as George Eliot and Larry Grayson, the throbbing heart of this teeming metropolis, the pearl of the CV13 postcode, down by the roundabout and up the one-way system, is Nuneaton Town Hall, where we can find none other than Nuneaton's Mr. Entertainment.
Hello ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, I'm Barry Tadcaster and this is my friend Ken Jeffens, who is an Orang Pendek. Hello, my name is Ken Jeffens and I am an Orang Pendek. Unlike the other Orang Pendeks, I do not come from the Indonesian island of Sumatra. I come from the London borough of Lewisham, where I am employed by Lewisham Town Council as an ombudsman. And here we are again, Ken. Yes, and in this week's episode, everybody is going to have tiny, black, glittering eyes like raisins in dough.
I really like the old credits.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's John Downs and this magnificent fellow here is Captain Phenobilax the Magnificent, known to most of his friends as Peanut. Welcome to another episode of On the Track. Now, I already have the most magnificent unknown cat in the world sitting on me, but back in the tail end of 2019, my friend and colleague Carl Marshall was in the Forest of Dean when he found some evidence which suggests that there are actually big cats, probably lynx, living wild in the forest. And ever since we have been running an investigation into these creatures. The Forest of Dean is a region in the western part of the county of Gloucestershire in southwestern England. It forms a roughly triangular plateau bounded by the River Wye to the west and northwest, Herefordshire to the north, the River Severn to the south, and the city of Gloucester to the east. And for the past 2 years, the Centre for Fortean Zoology have been carrying out an investigation there into reports that it may be the home to certain species of big cat. The project is being run by Carl Marshall. So tell me, Carl, we're getting more and more viewers each week, which presumably means that there are some people watching this who didn't see when we were talking about the Forest of Dean Big Cat project before. So, can you bring us up to speed? What happened in the beginning, back at the end of 2019?
I decided to take my friend's lad to go see some wild boar, because there's quite an impressive population in the Forest of Dean, and he had never seen them, so we went to go see those. And while we were there, we just happened to stumble across a spoor in the ground, a footprint, and it looked very much like a cat. So I laid 2 sticks in between the toes, in what I call the X test, and this is a way that you can emphasise the asymmetry of a cat track on the ground and differentiate it from a dog. We took some photographs of that, and then we took it back, and I sent photographs to several academics, zoologists, even one paleontologist actually, and pretty much everybody has said that it's very much feline in appearance, and it's more likely to be a felid than a canid.
Lynx are the largest wild cat species to be found in Europe, and although now they're only found in Scandinavia and parts of Eastern Europe, they are slowly regaining the areas that they used to live many hundreds of years ago. They were even found in Britain sometime between 500 and 1,000 years ago, and some people believe that they still are. Back in 2001, a lynx was caught in suburban Cricklewood outside London. The newspapers named her Lara, and she was taken to London Zoo in Regent's Park. She was certainly an escapee from captivity, somewhere probably where she had been being kept illegally as an exotic pet. But there is a more sinister and upsetting explanation that she may have been being kept by somebody who planned to release her into the countryside so somebody could go out and hunt for her. It's called canned hunting, and it is an unpleasant and despicable way of sating the bloodlust of those of the human race who can't exist without killing other animals who share the planet with us. And so before we go any further, although we'd love to be proven wrong, we are not N-O-T claiming that any mystery cats, lynx or whatever they are that are living wild in the Forest of Dean have been there since times primordial. They are almost certain to have been, like Lara, escapees from captivity. But that doesn't mean that they're any the less interesting.
So we've been back a couple of times since, just trying to find any more evidence. Last time we found hairs, which we were hopefully going to get analysed soon. And this last time, which was a couple of weeks ago, we just basically went to go see if we could find anything else, any more biological samples.
And so Carl, his old mate Geordie, with whom he's been on innumerable expeditions over the years, and Geordie's son Joe, an 18-year-old who's just as keen on the natural world as his two elders, went back to the forest, and soon they were deep inside the forest where Carl was doing what he does best, searching the undergrowth for clues and being a sort of cryptozoological detective.
See, a cat will use this as a walkway, like an observation point around there, maybe even have a hide here. And they possibly might snag some hairs and leave some hairs along here somewhere, so we'll just keep a look out and see if
Now this is the area where this deadlock fallen over tree will possibly have a snagged hair of an animal along it. So Carl's just having a look at this area and see if there's any tracks or hairs.
The whole ground is covered with this thick moss, this thick layer of moss everywhere, which in the sun is quite nice and warm. In fact, I wouldn't mind sleeping on there myself actually.
And me.
This is a pretty perfect habitat really for a small cat.
Yeah, indeed it is. There's many places like this, but we haven't ventured too far inside the forest yet, but hopefully on our next visit we will have some more time to do that.
Yeah, a lynx can have as little as 25 square kilometres of territory, which is not much really, which means that this forest could potentially conceal a species like a lynx indefinitely.
Yeah, this is a nice observation post here for the cat if it was to come here, and it's nice and soft and looks quite cosy and warm in places. A few cubby holes there it could sit and wait.
Yeah.
And a good vantage point to see any prey coming up from that side of the forest. If you look down there you can see this, it could just hide under here or beside here and wait. Very soft.
You see any hairs up there anywhere? Anything snagged on anything?
Can't see anything, no. No, there's nothing there unfortunately. Okay. An amazing array of mosses and liverwort on here.
The most important thing that you have to do when you're searching for any animal, known or unknown, is to find out whether the habitat supports the prey or the vegetable food that the creature would eat, in this case, prey.
Yeah, we found sign of rabbits, roe deer and muntjac deer, all in a location which is easily observable by a cat. Lynx can actually take down quite large prey. I saw a video recently of I think it was a bobcat taking down a white-tailed deer in America, which is a pretty impressive sized deer compared to the cat. And basically the cat just jumps onto the head and doesn't let go and basically frightens the deer to death. So yeah, they can take down all sorts of prey. So yeah, this is a really good location really. This is somewhere we should probably keep looking.
The team spent all day looking, and then finally caught on some thick undergrowth. Carl was lucky enough to find some hair samples. And what would they turn out to be from?
Snagged hair, different colour. Obviously those lynx have a variety of fur, so it's probably not, it's probably, I would say that's deer, muntjac maybe, but it's a bit coarse.
This is real life, it's not some peculiar television drama streamed on Netflix. We don't get results every time we go into the forest. If we did, the things we were looking for wouldn't stay unknown animals for very long. The boys will be going back into the Forest of Dean very soon, and this is where perhaps people watching this video might like to help. We're looking for more people to be, if you like, 40 foot soldiers to help Carl and Geordie in their quest for the truth behind the stories of the big cats in the Forest of Dean. So if you're interested in coming out and helping with field work, please contact us at the address in the description below. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a strange old week. I think I shot myself in the foot a bit last week by scheduling the show for 3 o'clock, not realising that that was the time which precisely coincided with Prince Philip's funeral. And then, to make things worse, I had a slight rant on the camera about the death of His Royal Highness, which I think, because it was put in juxtaposition with the dancing rhino, some people thought I was being facetious. Well, I wasn't. Trust me. I am very much a royalist, because it is the one thing which saves us from having a politician as head of state. But hey, I don't want to talk about politics. Let's get on with something else. I have been becoming very friendly with a guy called Stephen Friedland, who's better known to people in the music industry as Brute Force. He had one single out on the Beatles' Apple label over 50 years ago now. The single was called The King of Fa. You work it out and you'll see why the BBC didn't want to play something which had him singing about the Fa King. George Harrison thought it was a funny song. John Lennon thought it was a funny song. I think it's a funny song. And when our mutual friend Steve Andrews, you know him, he's been on the show before, the guy who sings songs about the environment and has a big green beard, when Steve Andrews introduced us, I jumped at the chance, and we've become quite friendly. Before Christmas he sent me a parcel of goodies. They arrived in Britain on the day before New Year's Eve, which, as you will remember, was finally Brexit Day. when our beloved Prime Minister got Brexit done, and I think, reading between the lines, the Post Office and Her Majesty's Customs and Excise and everything else was completely de cock. So the parcel hung around in a number of depots in the UK before being sent back at least once to New York. Eventually, a few days ago, Stephen, or Brute Force, if you'd rather call him Brute, he went and managed to get the parcel delivered back to him by his friendly mailman, and so he has now sent it to me again, and I'm hoping that this time round it'll all work out fine, but whether it does or not, here's a song. I was waiting for a parcel sent to me by Brute Force. Did the Royal Mail screw it up? Well, of course! Stephen emailed me, his emails getting more frantic as the parcel went back and forth across the Atlantic. He'd asked me what happened. I'd answered, what do I know, as I sit here with my dog and with my tap dancing rhino. My producer just calls me an old hippie wino for singing about Brute Force and a tap dancing rhino. You may or may not know that Lilith and I have had a long time fascination with Discordianism, which is either a religion masquerading as a joke or a joke masquerading as a religion. No one seems quite sure. And like so many other things, I got into the idea of Discordianism through the work of a man called Bill Drummond. And there are various Discordian numbers which make a lot of sense if you know the backstory, which is why, for example, whenever I say 23 on this show, I flash up a big pink 23. But one of the numbers which is significant to Bill Drummond is 17, and it so happens that 17 is the number of years it was since I was last in Illinois. And something very remarkable happened 17 years ago in Illinois, and it's going to happen again this coming month. And although I would love to be able to go back there and be part of it, I'd love to see it again once at least before I die. I don't think with the post-COVID travel restrictions, I don't think it's even the beginning of a starter. But what is it, you will ask? And the answer is cicadas. I knew several species of cicada when I was a boy in Hong Kong, and I saw at least 2 more species when I was visiting Canada in 1979. But I had never ever seen these peculiar creatures which live as larvae for 17 years before coming to the surface in order to mate, reproduce and die. And totally coincidentally, although as Tony Shields has always told me there's no such thing as a coincidence, boy, I was there at the right time to see them, and for several wonderful nights I, accompanied by my friend's little girl holding my camera light, stayed up enthralled photographing the final journey of these intrepid little insects as they crawled up the walls of the house. I was, by the way, visiting my friend Jessica and her daughter in a little town called Marshall. It was my first taste of small town America, and I enjoyed it very much. The nearest big town, by the way, was Terre Haute in Indiana. Kiernan was just a little girl then, but she's now all grown up, and one of these days, whether or not it coincides with the cicada swarming, which is something I would dearly love to see again, I'm going to go over to Illinois and visit them. I don't want you to think that I'm being melodramatic when I said earlier that I would love to see these insects do their incomparable thing once more before I die. But it only happens every 17 years. I'm 62 now and in pretty rubbish health. And in 17 years' time, I'm going to be 79 if I get that far, which personally I doubt. And I think the 79-year-old me is likely to be even more decrepit and rubbish than the 62-year-old one. So, if I don't see them this year, I probably never will.
If you want to support us and help us make more content like these, please press like, subscribe, follow our Facebook page and check out our Patreon.
And as the ghost of Joe Strummer and I are telling you, please remember to ring that notification bell. Otherwise you won't be told when we've got another show. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to say a really big thank you to all the people who've been involved, particularly, as always, Louis and Graham, and to Stephen Friedland, aka Brute Force, and to Charlotte, and Maxine, and all the other people who do stuff behind the scenes, and without whom I'd never get this stuff done. And of course, mostly to Lilith, because without Lilith I don't think I'd be able to do anything, because she seems to have decided to be my parasitic feline twin and be with me with everything I do. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back 3 o'clock next Saturday afternoon. So until then, Lilith and I will be seeing you.